Welcome back to Veterans Perspective. Today's episode will be based off of our blog, of course. Education fails dads too. Veterans fight for better schools. Let's get started. First, a word from our sponsor. As you guys know, it's us. I fixed the snafu, or I let it run its course on the Etsy store, but we are doing a 20% off sale for the rest of August for back to school. Because I know that across the country, everyone's starting to go back to school. We've been back at school here in Arizona for a few weeks now, because we do things a bit differently here, for good or for bad. It mostly has to do with the weather. It's just hot, so I don't know why they don't go back to school in September anyway. But to each their own. Each state has different rules. But we do have back to school stuff. One of the cooler products that we have a most likely to personalized shirt. We have adult sizes and kid sizes. For the little kids and for the bigger kids or adults. If you have a teacher friend, teachers love these shirts. You can actually personalize it. So most likely to forget to refill the coffee machine, or most likely to blah, 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 blah. Most likely to interrupt the teacher during a lecture and get them off topic or something like that. You can personalize the shirt up to 40 characters right there on the site, and our print-on-demand partner, Gelato, will print it for you and ship it to you. Great for any time of year, but first day of school would be pretty awesome to send your kid to school with something like that, or as a teacher to go to school with something like that as well. I will leave that link down in the description on the podcast and the video podcast on YouTube as well. All right, let's get into it. We're back on our education kick. You guys know that's one of the main focuses of this podcast. It's kind of our thing around here. For those of you who don't know, I'm Jeff. I'm a disabled veteran, former high school social studies teacher and instructional coach at a K-8 school. I'm a dad, fighting for kids' futures. I'm no longer in education. I left education due to toxic leadership and issues with my PTSD. My wife, Carrie, is a full-time librarian now. She's actually a librarian at the school now, but still a teacher. She teaches classes every day in the library. So, we all know that our education system is broken, okay? I fought in the military, right? Like, I was in the military. I was in the Army. I fought in war in Iraq, OIF 1, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Phase 1, 2003. That was my deployment. I was there for 14 months. I was deployed for 14 months. I was in country for 10 months, 11 months, something like that. But I'm channeling my energy now. It's crazy. I'm out of the classroom. I'm out of schools. I'm out of education. I mean, I'm still a certified teacher. I still have an active certification, which I will keep active. But I'm fighting harder for education than I ever have before. I'm speaking up more because I'm outside of the system. So there's always repercussions, right? You have freedom of speech from your government, but there's always consequences, right? Because I'm sure that if I were to choose one day to get back into education, someone who's going to interview me is going to find this blog. Because they're going to Google search me, right? They're going to find this podcast and go, hey, let's talk about this. And I'll be prepared to talk about it, right? So remember that, kids and adults. The internet's forever, right? It's written in pencil. It's written in pen, not pencil, right? If you've ever watched the YouTube channel Visual Venture, I got that saying from them. The internet is written in pen, not pencil. Think about that. Let me know what you think that means down in the comments. The education system is broken. sometimes the system will always tell parents to get involved. Okay. And some districts and some individual schools are really good at giving them avenues to being involved. Okay. Some do not. Most do not. Right? Most create avenues where the only involvement is during working hours. Right? Parents have to work. Now, I'm lucky. I'm at home now. Right? I'm looking for different income streams, disability, things like that. Right? So I'm an anomaly. Right? I'm not the norm when it comes to income. Okay, so leave me out of it, right? Separate me from that conversation, which I can do. But take a normal family, right? One or two parents, because that's normal, right? One or two parents, because the divorce rate is about 50%. They have to work. Shit's expensive and getting more expensive. Because our government sucks. I don't care who your political party is. How are parents supposed to be involved at and in the school? I'm talking about at or in the school when the only involvement is during working hours. Now, parents, because you guys know I will come after you, we have a crisis going on. I was listening to my friend's podcast, Dr. Armstead. She has a wonderful podcast. I'll find the link to it and put it in the description. If I forget, remind me, and I will put it in the description. I listened to one of her TikToks the other day. We have a mental health crisis among teens, especially middle school and high school. Because they do not have positive adult influences in their lives other than maybe at school, right? Because let's be real, there's some shitty teachers out there. I know that firsthand. There are shitty teachers out there. They exist, right? But there's also shitty parents out there. They exist too, and we all know it. So you might as well say it. Parental involvement doesn't need to be inside the school. It needs to start at the base level. Be involved with your kids. Ask them how their day is going. Email their teachers. Hey, how's my kid doing in your class? Once a week. Once a month. Show up to parent-teacher conferences, which are outside working hours. Every fucking school that I've worked at does parent-teacher conferences in the evening. I've had to do them. Schedule a time with the teacher early in the morning, because I guarantee you that teacher is there before the bell rings, and I bet that teacher will call you and have a 10-minute conversation with you about your kid. That's involvement. At a base level, that is involvement. I'm not telling y'all, parents, to move shit around, to move mountains yet. We'll get there. What I'm telling y'all is that you need to be involved at the core level because your kids think you do not fucking care. And some of you might not care. And that's your problem. But your problem becomes society's problem when your kid does something fucking stupid at school to disrupt the learning of other kids because you chose to be a shitty parent. Don't blame the kid. Don't blame the kid. They have big feelings and big emotions, right? They're still developing their frontal cortex. I'm blaming you, mom and dad. I'm blaming you. You're an adult. So I'm telling you, I'm not asking, I'm telling y'all to be involved at a base level. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Schools themselves, education themselves prioritizes compliance over creativity. We've talked about that before. Okay? It leaves parents in a lot of ways to pick up the pieces at home, and parents aren't doing it. More parents aren't doing it than parents are. Okay? So I've seen it on both sides. Teachers watching students lose their passion for learning because they have to fucking fill in bubbles for a standardized test that they had to prepare for 3 weeks. Because we gotta get that letter grade up. No one cares. And as a dad, I want to keep my kids inspired. I want to keep my kids going to school for the experience of learning. And I'm going to be real with you. Teaching is a female-dominated space. There are more females than male teachers. Okay? It changes a little bit the higher grades you go. Okay? Most male teachers teach the higher grades, high school and middle school, right? K through 6 has fewer male teachers than 7 through 12. Okay. Why? I don't know. I would have to research that. I mean, I can give my opinion on that, and I will one day. Maybe I'll write a blog on it, and we'll do a podcast on it. I have my thoughts on it, but that's just the fact of the matter. Okay. There's also a lot fewer males than females. So, and then we're told, oh, kids need a positive male role model, especially the boys. Then hire more male teachers at all levels. Train more male teachers. Incentivize more male teachers. Make the profession attractive for more male teachers. Don't shut their voice out because there's fewer of them. And I see that firsthand. Oh, I've had people tell me, leaders and colleagues in the education space, I'm glad you're here because we need more male influence on students. Oh, that's awesome. That sounds good. That feels good to hear, right? Because you want to impact kids, right? But how about we talk about that? Why do we need that? Single parent households, and it's mostly single moms raising their kids. And I coach sports at the schools that I taught at. A lot of my athletes, because I coach boys sports, a lot of my athletes, single moms. Not all of them. Some of them had two-parent homes, about 50-50, right? Which, statistically, that makes sense. But we hear that all the time, right? Oh, these kids need a positive male role model, and then we vilify male teachers. Oh, well, he only teaches high school, because the girls. Fuck off. You can't have it both ways. Can't have it both ways. The problem, schools are failing parents and kids alike. That's a well-established baseline, okay? I watch schools churn out lessons focused on rote memorization, standardized tests. It crushes student curiosity. It plays down curiosity and critical thinking. And that's a blanket statement. That's not all schools and all districts, right? Some are very, very good at taking that curriculum and saying, hey, yes, we have a standardized test. We need to meet these standards. What's a creative way that we can do that? How can we get there while still having kids have choice? How are we differentiating instruction? How can we allow for creativity? Some are so focused on the test score They just say, you're going to fucking learn this and you're going to sit down and shut up. 2004 Ed Week report, I have it linked in the blog, which I will put in the description, found that 65% of parents believe schools are not preparing kids for real-world challenges. I'm going to stop right there. Parents, that's your fucking job. A school, as intended, is to educate. Now, part of that education process is exposure to the world within a safe, confined environment, right? Learning about controversial topics. I taught history. Guess what? We're going to talk about some shit, right? Even though y'all are going to bitch, moan, and cry about it. Oh my God, he talked about slavery. Yeah, it happened. Okay? But then, parents, you then expect schools to teach your students sex ed, not as a class, but as an opt-in or opt-out in most districts. Here where I live, that's all I can speak on. You expect fully functional mental health service counselors on campus, and you don't show up to meetings for those kids. Schools are not the end-all, be-all. And then, when it's time to fund those fucking schools, you vote no. You can't have your cake and eat it too, parents. You can't. Now, I'm not saying throwing money at a district is going to solve its problems, because districts out here mismanage their fucking money all the time. And Lord knows they don't use it to hire teachers. They'll make up some position like the assistant curriculum director of instruction for computer services or some fucking bullshit. But 65% of parents believe schools aren't preparing kids for real-world challenges. What are the parents doing? How are the parents contributing to the preparation? What are those parents doing to support the school in preparing kids for the real-world challenges? I personally, as an instructional coach, push for curriculums that encourage problem solving and creativity. Push teachers to create lessons, problem solving and creativity. Toxic leadership, obsessed with test scores, blocked my progress at every turn. Every fucking turn. That environment didn't just harm students. On a personal level, it harmed me. It aggravated my PTSD, making it impossible for me to stay in education. A trigger I didn't even know existed. It built over time, and finally I had to get out. Now, as a dad, I see those flaws from the parent side as someone who is relatively involved, right? I have a different perspective because I'm on, or like I've been on both sides of the coin. I don't inundate teachers with emails because as a teacher, that's overwhelming, right? But also, as a teacher, that's my responsibility to communicate with parents. Guys, schools are at a point now where they have to give teachers parent communication logs, and a lot of those schools force teachers to turn them in to prove they're actually communicating with parents. That's fucking wild. That's crazy. Make sure you guys communicate with parents. That used to be, when I first got into the profession, that used to be a given. That was part of the job description. And it wasn't just about the bad shit. Hell, it was mostly about the good stuff. And I don't even blame the teachers. I blame the profession. The profession of teaching has fallen so far that now the people who become teachers are so ill prepared that they start at a lower level. They start lower. And I saw that as an instructional coach. When I walk in as an instructional coach for a teacher that's been teaching for 3 years and they don't know how to write a lesson plan, not even just write a lesson plan, because that's fucking busy work, right? They don't know the structure of a lesson, how to run a lesson. That's a problem. And it's not a problem with that teacher. That's not their fault, because you don't know what you don't know. That's a systematic problem, period, with who each state allows to become a teacher. Here in Arizona, to fucking have a pulse. Have a pulse. Have a pulse and a degree. And that degree can be in underwater basket weaving. Oh, and by the way, if you're a certificated teacher like me, we're still not going to pay you more, except for your years of service, because most public school districts' pay scales are based off of time and service, not quality of service, but time and service. And most states are like that. Some states on the East Coast are a little bit different because they're union protected. Here in Arizona, we do not have a strong teacher union. So the institution of teaching is failing. And people talk about, oh, AI is going to take over teaching? Okay. As a teacher? All right, what can it take off my plate? That sounds great. Because you're giving me more work for less pay, and my colleagues who are newer coming into the profession are less prepared, so I have to pick up the slack, and the parents are yelling at me for not preparing their kids for the real world. Bring on AI. Bring on AI. Schools push outdated methods. I've mentioned it before in this podcast. Schools prepare kids for prison. They run classrooms like it's the 1800s with a little bit more group work. Push your desks together. Oh, but make sure you line up. High schools are a little different. But K through 8, oh man, if you're out of line, you're a piece of shit. If you're a teacher whose class is out of line and the principal sees it, you're a piece of shit. Because you didn't prepare your kids for the prison lineup. It's wild. It's wild. It's frustrating because we want our kids to be exposed to an appropriate education. We want our kids to experience things, to express their creativity while learning, make friends, have social time, if they want that, right? Some kids aren't social at all, and that's okay. That's who they are, okay? 2023 study. I'm going to back this up with resources again. 2023 study from the National Center for Education Statistics show that 70% of parents feel disconnected from their children's education, and I get why. Now, some of that is because parents don't understand what it is their kids learning and how they're learning it, because, and this happens in every generation, how things are taught changes. And so parents, we don't get it. Like, I look at my kids' math and go, what? Right? And that's okay. Right? I'm not saying you have to learn fucking math all over again, right? But part of that disconnect is because you're not trying to connect, parents. That's your job. That is your job as a parent. It's your job, right? That disconnect makes you feel like that you're trying to fill gaps that schools should address, and it's exhausting. I get it. But maybe you're supposed to fill those gaps. Maybe you're supposed to fill those gaps. Again, the root issue with schools, districts, states, the system's designed for compliance, not growth. Okay? They'll use the compliance numbers to say it's growth, but it's not. Standardized test dominant curriculum, forcing teachers to teach to the test, and that does happen. Do not have any qualms about it. That happens. Okay? Rather than nurture skills like collaboration and adaptability. Instead of, look, I'm going to say something as a teacher, and I still see myself as a teacher. Again, I still have a valid certificate. It's okay to let kids fail. They need to learn how to lose. They need to learn how to adapt and overcome. Give them back a paper with an F on it. Or because you can't have letter grades anymore in K through 8, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't even give a 0. Because we pretend to care about their feelings until standardized tests come out. And while there's not a 0, there's a falls far below. It's wild, right? They pick and choose what they give a shit about. It's okay to let kids struggle. Struggle with care. Struggle with guidance. Struggle with love. And by that I mean, the kids struggle, you give guidance. You give care. You give love. That used to be the norm as a teacher. I used to hand back a paper to a history student with a C or a D on it, and they'd freak out. Can I redo this? Yeah. Read the notes. I break it down for you. You can resubmit it, and they have to adapt and overcome. Oh, Mr. Connell, I failed my exam. Cool, let's retake it. Call me. This is when I taught online. Call me and we'll go over the questions you missed. That'll be your study hall, and then I'll let you retake the test. Adapt and overcome. Real learning happens through action and problem solving. The military taught me that. Schools cling to this one-size-fits-all model. Right? We've talked about that before. We'll talk about it again soon when we talk more about AI. Right? And it fails kids with diverse needs. We expect everyone to fill in the bubble, but there's one kid who's better at speaking. There's another kid who's better at writing. There's another kid who's better at expression through art. But everyone fill in the bubbles. For dads like me, who want our kids to be ready for life's challenges, this is a betrayal. That's a betrayal. Right? Like, I have 3 kids. 3. I have 2 daughters and a son. My son's been sick. He's been home a few days this week. I think he's home now. All 3 of them learn differently. All 3 of them have different passions. All 3 of them are unique. And they learn in unique ways. But when it comes to school, they have to express it all the same way. It's wild. It's wild. And my son is home. He's talking creepily behind me. We're not just fighting for better grades. I don't give a shit about grades. I don't. What I give a shit about is an education system that equips our kids to thrive. And yes, parents, that includes you being involved, at least at the base level that we talked about earlier. Solutions. Because I don't just give problems, I give solutions, right? My military service taught me how to fix broken systems through discipline, teamwork, and practical solutions. Former teacher, now a dad. Let's apply these lessons. Embrace project-based learning for real-world impact. PBL, project-based learning, has been a thing forever, and schools and districts have struggled to implement it. Across the board. Some districts do it well. Most districts do it poorly. When I was in the Army, we learned by doing. Okay, my job in the Army, go ahead and laugh and comment Pauly Shore, I don't give a shit. I did water purification, storage, and distribution. The best job in the United States Army. Okay? Yes, we read textbooks when I went to Fort Lee, Virginia. At the time, it was called Fort Lee. I think it's called something different now, Fort Victory or something like that. Okay? This is way back in 2000 or whenever the hell I went. Yes, we had lab time, right? When we learned the science behind it, right? But we learned the most by doing, solving the problem under pressure, giving time constraints. Hey, we got to get this water from the raw water source to the purification unit to the troops in the field. And we have this amount of time to do it. Let's go. How do we do it? What's the plan? Schools need to adopt that model where kids tackle challenges like designing a sustainable garden, for example. That's what I put in the blog. Or planning a mock community event or a real community event, which could get parents involved, right? PBL builds critical thinking and creativity, skills all of our kids need to navigate life. For instance, 2022 study from the Buck Institute for Education found that students in PBL programs 20% higher engagement and better problem-solving skills than those in traditional classrooms. Imagine classrooms where kids work together on projects that mirror real-world issues. Think about your high schools, okay? Juniors and seniors, your kids that are about to enter the workforce and enter the voting pool, doing projects like this on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a quarterly basis. Imagine going into your communities and the jobs and the job markets in your communities and saying, hey, tell us the problems that you're having and that you're looking to solve now. We're going to create PBL projects based on those problems and come back to you with the solutions. And maybe you can hire some of our kids that work on those solutions. Holy shit. Imagine that. This isn't about filling out bubbles. It's about being prepared for the real world. Schools should replace test-driven lessons with hands-on projects. Spark curiosity. Teach kids how to think, not what to think. Knowing how to think is way different than being told what to think. And that is a problem in education right now. Being told what to think. Solution 2, teach practical life skills for a strong foundation. Now, the term life skills is a dirty word in education. I do not give a shit. Because life skills make life a little bit easier. When I was in the military, it gave me skills like resilience, financial literacy, and teamwork. Financial literacy, I learned the hard way, but I learned it. Right? Adapt and overcome. Got me through some tough times, still is. Schools, however, rarely teach that shit. Now, parents, you need to be involved in life skills too, right? I hear parents all the time. Well, why don't schools teach kids how to balance a checkbook? First off, you shitters, when's the last time any of you have actually fucking balanced a checkbook? Because I bet it's few to none. Because you all go online or on your phone, like me. Right? Well, I should show them how to do their taxes. Shut up. You go on TurboTax and let the computer do it for you while you literally scan a QR code for your W-2 and it does it for you. Very, very few of you do your own taxes. So what life skills do schools need to teach kids? I would love schools to focus more on budgeting. My oldest daughter has the green light card, the one that we could put money on. That's her budget. Right? She doesn't get an allowance. We don't do allowances here. But when she does get money for things, she has to manage that. Hey, you have some things coming up this week. Here's $20 or whatever it might be. That's your money for this period of time. Don't ask for more. Or you can make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Nothing wrong with that. It actually sounds really good. It's 7:35 in the morning and I still have my coffee. For those of you on the video, I'm showing you my coffee right now. I got a little bit of iced coffee. The ice melted. This shouldn't fall only on parents, but this is where parents and schools can collaborate. Create a life skills curriculum with your community. Important life skills, yes, there's a base for everyone, right? But different communities have different needs. Talk to community leaders. Talk to parents. And this is on the principals, right? This is on the principals. Create a list. Hire a life skills teacher. Create your curriculum. Give them the freedom to create their curriculum and create a life skills class for all your kids to go through. I should charge for this shit. National Education Association NEA report notes that students with life skills training perform 15% better academically and show stronger social skills. Why isn't this the standard? Imagine a class where kids learn to manage stress, that's a life skill, or work as a team, skills that would have definitely helped me as a young adult and that my kids need now. Schools must prioritize these to prepare kids for life, not just for tests. Involve parents as partners, and parents, you need to be willing partners. Missions in the military succeed because of clear communication and teamwork, but schools often leave parents out of the loop, and parents sometimes don't want to be in the loop. Those two things need to be fixed. As a dad, I want to be part of my kids' learning, right? Even just simple conversations with my kids. What'd you do at school today? What'd you learn today? Hey, I talked to this teacher today. What's going on over there? They know that I know. Helping with projects or understanding their challenges. Sometimes schools, teachers especially, when they see an email from a parent, and I've done this too, they go, oh, fuck. They see it as a negative immediately. Stop seeing parent emails, even the challenging ones, as negatives. See them as opportunities for involvement and collaboration, because that's what they are. My time spent as an instructional coach showed that parent involvement boosts student outcomes by up to 25%. If the parents know, the kids are going to perform. Period. 2021 Harvard Education Study proves this. Yet, toxic leadership often dismisses parents as outsiders. Principals and assistant principals, this is for you. Let your parents in the door. I'm not talking about the door to the school, because that's always open unless there's a lockdown. Let them in the door to your office. Because you're all sitting in there anyway, because half of you ain't in fucking classrooms. Yeah, I said it. Talk to the parents, not just at happy events, but when shit's hitting the fan. Your teachers are teaching. You're running a school. Part of running a school is collaborating with your parents. That's your job. Maybe even having a school-run Google Classroom or something like that to keep parents in the loop. None of this fucking district newsletter shit. with 12 or 13 different newsletters that they have to fucking find for their school. No. No. Make it personalized and individualized. We individualize instruction for kids. How about we do it for parents? AI can help with that. Oh my God. Solution 4. Support teachers to strengthen families. My wife, Carrie, is a teacher, librarian/teacher. I see how the system can grind her down. She's in a different school this year. She seems way happier, at least I think she is. I've been her husband for 16 years. I think I know her a little bit. 2022 National Education Association survey found that 55% of teachers are considering quitting. That's numbers probably a little bit higher. Due to low pay, large class sizes, and burnout. As a former educator, I know unsupported teachers can't give their best. As a dad, I feel the impact when Carrie comes home exhausted. It affects our whole family. Schools need to invest in teachers, higher salaries, smaller class sizes, and actual mental health support. And guess what's going to pay for that? Tax dollars, because nothing is free, right? We talk about, we need better teachers. Well, guess what? You ain't going to get better teachers unless you have a fucking competitive salary. Because guess what teachers have? They have degrees. They have certificates, at least they should. Okay? Those certificates aren't free. Why are teachers treated differently than any other corporate position that requires a degree and requires a certificate that you must renew, but we pay them less? I will tell you why. Oh, you do it for the kids. The next time I fucking hear that, legally I get to punch whoever says it in the face. I think legally I've reached that point. Yes, we do it for the kids, but that doesn't mean you fucking pay me less. Oh, you do it for the outcome. No, bitch, I work for the income. Come on now. Y'all need to grow up with that shit. That's old news. That's old news. We did a podcast a few episodes ago. Go back and listen to it when we talked about teacher pay. $3 an hour per kid. That's how much we want to be paid. Go back and listen to it. $3 an hour per kid. Go back and listen to it. You'll find out why. Then we're getting paid our worth. 2023 Rand Corporation study. I'm full of sources today. Showed that teachers with better support create classrooms where students are 10% more likely to excel. When teachers are valued, they build vibrant learning environments that lift up our kids. It's a ripple effect that starts with treating educators right. This is any work environment. Think about your job, right? If you're not a teacher. If your boss is shitty, if you feel like you're undervalued and underpaid and you go to work, do you give a fuck? Hell no. Hell no. You're like, fuck that guy. I'm going to stay in the bathroom a little bit longer. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Same thing for teachers. They just can't hide in the bathroom because legally we got to watch the kids. And when we have a shitty boss, man, they're shitty bosses. Trust me, I know. So why does this matter? Again, this is me, a veteran dad, mission for change. Okay? This fight's personal. Schools aren't just failing kids, they're failing dads like me. Okay? Who just want our children to grow into confident, capable adults. Okay? PTSD, worsened by toxic leadership, ended my career in the classroom, but it didn't end my fight to make the classroom better. Okay? It actually fueled me to push harder, to speak out more. Gave me the confidence to speak out more. It took me a while to get there. Project-based learning, life skills, parent involvement, teacher support are more than ideas. They're a blueprint. This is a blueprint for success. So school districts, state boards, state departments of education, principals, superintendents, whoever the fuck you are. You might not like me because I'm loud, brash, and I cuss. I don't give a shit if you like me. We like the kids. We like the parents. We want them to be successful. Those things are your blueprint. PBL, life skills, parent involvement, teacher support. But you have to buy in. You have to train. Your teachers have to buy in. Your parents have to buy in. Your leadership has to buy in. It's not going to happen overnight. This is how we fix schools. Period. This is how we fix schools. And we have to step up for all families. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. Kids deserve an education. They deserve a good education. A good education is going to help them navigate life. And students, because I know there's some of you out here that listen to this. I know it. You got to be part of the process too. You got to show up to school every day. Right? You got to work hard. Sometimes I know there's lessons and assignments. You're just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I hate this class. No, you don't. You might hate it in the moment, but you don't hate it forever. You got to be part of the process too. And remember that those adults, most of them are there for you. And they want you to be successful. Man, this one went on for a while. But I want you guys to join the conversation. Are you a dad or mom? Veteran, parent, frustrated with schools? Got ideas? Do you guys have different ideas for fixing schools? Because I'm just one guy. Okay, share your thoughts down in the comments. Right, I'd love to hear your perspective. Right, this blog is called Veterans Perspective. This podcast is called Veterans Perspective. But that's just me. I want your guys' perspective too, because we're building a community here. Okay, I want you guys to feel free to voice your opinions. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Why do you disagree with me? Do you think I'm an asshole? I'm fine with that. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, comment. Let's blow this thing up so we can help our kids and help our schools. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you.